Hi, I'm Myra Cifuentes, and welcome back to the Flying Cat Marketing interview series. Today, I have a very special guest whose name is Jake Stainer. He's the co-founder of Outreach Humans, which is a link building and SEO agency, and he's helped grow startups like Travel Perk and Typeform to where they are today using SEO, paid ads, and a lot of other cool acquisition strategies that we're going to be talking about today. He's going to tell us about the lessons that he's learned from breaking down a bunch of different SaaS funnels and what kind of strategies startups can use to start building their user base now. So I hope you enjoy it, and if you liked it, please share it with your friends and colleagues, give it a like, and give it a subscribe. Enjoy.
Okay, I've got several projects, but I'm going to tell you about the three main ones, right, that I have on my plate right now. People say to me all the time, you're doing too many things, focus. But in the end, I find it hard. But anyway, so the first one is called Papora, and it's a language education website, which I started a decade ago when I had a hobby of making websites, right? I was 12 or 13, I was making websites. That was more than a decade ago, by the way. And I was learning Spanish back then as well. So I decided to make a website to allow people to exchange languages, right? Because the way I was learning Spanish was speaking to other people over the internet. And back then it was on MSN Messenger, but now obviously that doesn't exist, right? So I made a platform to help people do that. And that's basically how I got into SEO and PPC, so I needed to get people to my website. So I said, I read about this thing called SEO. So I said, why don't I learn SEO? And I found this book called SEO for Dummies that I was studying. And then I tried out PPC as well. I was on eBay and I found a £75 AdWords voucher, and I was bidding on it for £1, and I managed to get it for £1, and then I probably blew all the money on nothing because back then I was super bad. But that's why I spent my first money on Google AdWords. So I'm working on this project because I code it from scratch, and the code is super old. It's like a Frankenstein. So I'm basically working on that, and it helps Spanish speakers to learn English super easily. And it's actually picking up over the past few weeks because I guess people are deciding to pick up a new language now.
Yeah, it's a great thing to do right now when you're stuck at home.
Definitely, right? The other one I have, hopefully I won't take up all the time we have chatting, is my personal blog called Inflection Growth, where I talk about different things about SaaS, paid advertising, these types of things that I put on my LinkedIn. And I'm building one product on there called SaaS Funnels, which basically allows people to study the funnels of the big SaaS brands out there, because I kind of discovered this was the best way to learn when I was at Typeform, because before we were just guessing. We had user tracking tools like Inspector or Full Story, trying to figure out what people were doing. But in the end, I just looked at other SaaS companies and got inspiration from them. So the goal of this product is me walking through different funnels to see how do big SaaS companies acquire customers, how do they get them to upgrade to the Pro plan, and then I try and unsubscribe and I see how are they trying to keep me as a customer and not let me churn. So I think that's super interesting. I found out super interesting things there, like on Prezi, the presentation software, right? If you cancel your subscription, then all of your presentations go public. So imagine you had some private stuff in there for your business they didn't want other people to see, but they go, actually, if you click unsubscribe, we're going to make all of your presentations public, and everyone's going to...
Scary.
And on MailChimp, they say, if you unsubscribe, we're going to delete your whole account. That was the crazy one that I saw, but super interesting. And then my last project I'm working on for most of my time is basically an SEO agency for SaaS companies, but focusing more on link building because it was a major pain. I had a Typeform with my SEO manager. He didn't want to come to work and build links. But if you're doing SEO, you need to get links somehow. So we basically focus on guest posting, and I'm building this SEO agency with a good friend of mine called Italo Viale. I don't know if you've seen him on LinkedIn, but he's out there.
What is it again? His name? Italo.
Italo
I think
Viale.
I've seen that name. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm making that. I'm doing this SEO agency with him, and I see different opportunities in the SaaS space. It's kind of like I'm trying to focus on mainly SaaS, and then my outlier is my language education website. Yeah.
But I've seen you talking a lot about paid ads lately, more than SEO. Are you?
That's true.
What do you nerd out about the most?
That's a good question. I mean, when I was at Typeform, I was looking over like paid ads and SEO and conversion optimization. And when we were at Typeform, everyone was speaking to different people, from like people at Slack, Hootsuite, Squarespace, etc. So we gained all of this knowledge from all of these other SaaS companies. And having like the Typeform brand on you made it super easy to say, hey, do you want to chat? People say, yeah, of course, I love Typeform. So that made it super easy, right? So I had all this knowledge in my head around paid ads. So I thought, why don't I just share this to everyone and add value back to the community, right? So I decided to I made a blog post recently around paid ads for SaaS. So I decided to share it. So the truth is, I'm not a big paid ads nerd in the sense that I can't do the details. I can do the high level stuff. So I couldn't build a complex Google Ads campaign in a spreadsheet and upload to Google Ads and do some crazy stuff with bid modifiers and scripts and stuff. I'm not that level of paid ads. I can look at like the high level, like ROI and high level stuff, but like the actual details, then it's not my strength. So that's why I'm focused on SEO.
Gotcha. I also am not, I'm more into SEO as well, and I don't know how well I'd be able to lead a conversation about Google Ads. So let's talk about SEO then.
It sounds good.
Yeah, cool. And let's talk about building SaaS funnels actually with an organic strategy. Is that I don't have a clear question for you there, but where should a SaaS company start?
Where should they start? That's a great question. So first you have to do your research, right? Like, what industry are you in? Are people looking for your solution? Yes or no? And then you can make a decision. How do you approach the whole funnel and your whole strategy, right? So I have two examples. One of them is like Typeform. Like, there's hundreds of thousands of people every day or every month, let's say, looking for like forms, surveys, quizzes. So we based the whole strategy around capturing these people. And there's different levels, right? You have like form, feedback form, employee feedback form, and it goes on and on and on and on. And you have like hundreds of different use cases that you can create and build and capture people who already want to come and create a form or a survey or a quiz, right? And then there's other companies, like my ex-colleague from Typeform. She's working at a company called Maze, which is a UX company where you can basically test your like prototypes before you even launch them and get feedback at scale through this, where people do like these mazes, where you can create like these mazes and people can try it out and you get feedback and insights. But no one is really looking for this product. So in this instance, you have to create content, which is like the problem aware section, right? Which could be like usability testing questions, best design books, this kind of thing. So we're trying to capture your target audience, but not looking for the solutions. I think the first step is to work out this, and which is the most important step to take.
So in that sense, let's say that people, they don't search for your product, for your solution, because they don't know that it exists and they don't know what words to use. How do you find out what words they are using? It's
a good question. So I think the first thing every person should do is interview and speak to their prospects and customers, right? And ask people. I think mostly people don't ask or speak to their customers enough, right? In every aspect of everything that people are doing right now. People are too data crazy. Like, let's just use this tool and it's going to give us all of the answers. But all of the answers are in the mouth of your customer. You know, even with things like attribution, people have like these crazy attribution models and it's never perfect and never works. And no company, even with hundreds of millions of investment, has even cracked really good attribution. But in the end, what companies do is they just ask their customers, hey, where did you hear about us from? And they use that data instead, right? So I think the key is just to always speak to your customers and right from the beginning, right? I think a lot of people make that mistake.
So what, you send them a survey, a type form survey perhaps? or is it better to just get on the phone with them?
I think get on the phone. I think with in the beginning, if you don't have like thousands of people, why send out like a type form or a survey when you can just speak to 10, 15 people and have a really good conversation and dig deeper? Because with a form or a survey, you're again hiding behind technology and not actually speaking to your customer, right? So I would if you have a product, then maybe you can offer them like a discount or free X months and just speak to them and get that information and keep digging deeper. Because if you do a survey, then you always have to do like a follow-up survey to dig even deeper into the questions that you asked in the first place. So I think just speaking to people like me and you right now is the best way.
Awesome. And so if I had a very limited budget, if I was a SaaS company with like one person doing all of my marketing, what should I focus on first?
It's a good question. So
also, I have no budget, let's say.
Okay, no budget, so no paid ads for you. I think there's two really clear. I think there's two stages of your like new SaaS business, right? There's the stage where you're trying to figure out your like product market fit or brand market fit. It's like the new buzzword. And this is like the stage where you're hustling to try and get people to use your products. You're getting feedback. You're trying to increase your MRR, your monthly recurring revenue to X point, and you don't really care if you're growing a channel or not, right? You just want to get to some kind of stage where you're bringing money and you're proving that people want your product. And then the next stage is to build up your predictable channels, and you can invest money in paid ads and other stuff. But I think a lot of the times in the beginning, people make the mistake where they're trying to build the predictable channels in the beginning, but actually you should just hustle and just try and get in customers and users and get feedback, and it doesn't matter if it's not scalable, right? So the first stage, the hustle.
So you mean creating more bottom of the funnel content to begin with?
I mean, it depends. Like with like Maze, no one's searching for it, so you could create like a free UI kit, free icon set, free something to get people in. Like, and this is like super top of the funnel, right? Because you're giving something for free to get in front of your target audience, so that people would share. You can generate like leads, emails, and then you can then do lead nurturing or follow up with them, have a conversation, this type of thing.
Going back to what we were saying about getting on the phone with your prospects or current clients, I know that you're super into building systems about everything. So let's say I'm having a conversation like this with a prospect. How can I build a system to code their responses so that I can actually have these conversations at scale? And I mean, I know it's hard to have phone conversations at scale, but how can I code the answers to a lot of different open-ended conversations to get data that I can use in my marketing?
It's a good question. I thought before, but I don't have like a concrete system figured out. I mean, the first stage is to transcribe all of your conversations into text, right? That's step one. This program, if you just Google it, I'm sure you'll find it. Some kind of program that can do this kind of thing. And then you have different options. It depends, like, do you go through it yourself and then tag it? Do you get someone like a virtual assistant or freelancer to go and tag it for you? Or do you use some kind of like software which looks at the most frequent words, like a word frequency thing, and you figure out what are the most frequent words? But I guess I'll do a combination of both, because I use these SEO tools, like where people used to always be obsessed with like keyword density. I would Google keyword density tool, put in a little text, and then find the most common 2-word phrases, 3-word phrases, 4-word phrases, trying to understand what this thing is all about, But I guess you'd have to use a combination of this and then do, like, say, the first 5 yourself. Let's imagine you have 100. You do the first 5 yourself and tag different things and in like a certain way. And then you can find someone like on Upwork who could then do the other 95 for you, for example.
Nice. Do you have any recommendations for a word frequency counting tool?
I always Google SEO, keyword frequency. I don't have like a go-to one. I just kind of Google it, and then I happen to find one and I copy and paste for text, but I don't have like a go-to one.
Cool. So I was at a talk that you did when I met you in person. Feels like a lifetime ago, pre-coronavirus. And I remember you saying something that blogs are old news, or that soon we're not going to be doing blogs anymore. What do you mean by that? And
the blog is dead.
Replace them. What's going to replace the blog?
So this morning I was looking at when was the first blog even made, right? So blog, it's a short version for weblog, where people would just log their stuff online. And I saw it was made in 1994. So this is like 26 years ago. So brands out there, the biggest brands, are using a thing which was made 26 years ago to try and display the amazing content that they're making, and it doesn't make any sense. I think people have tried to hack the system where they try and like do clever interlinking and try and create like these pillar pages and incorporate different blog posts together, but I think that's trying to hack a really old system which wasn't even intended for what people are using it for today. So I'm of the opinion that you need to like what the problem you're trying to solve is, how can I organize this content in a way which makes sense for my users and prospects and customers to then understand, right? So for example, like a lot of blogs have like company news, product updates with articles and guides. Like I'm of the opinion of kill the whole blog thing and just make a guide section on your website, have really good guides. Make like a company news section on your website dedicated to that. Product update section dedicated to that, and just make it super contextual, but don't just add loads of stuff to one thing called a blog.
Okay. So call it maybe a resources section, and then there you have the guides, you have the...
And then it's better for Google too, right? Because if Google right now, like Google just goes to a blog and sees like a load of random stuff, and has to sort through it, has to go through all this effort to understand what is this whole thing all about under the subfolder blog on your website.
Yeah.
So for them, it's like a lot of work, So we try and do internal linking to try and tell Google this is what it's all about. In the end, the best way is to have your content in sections which make sense to help Google to understand what your website's all about in the first place, right? So if you have like guides / I don't know, how to make a blog, then have all of your blog, how to make a blog related articles under that one place. Mm-hmm. So when Google visits that, it can really easily understand all of this content about this one topic, because a big thing right now isn't your domain authority, it's all about your topic authority, right? So this is how you make topic authority. It's like going to like a library to find a book, and they're all over the place. Where do you look? So if you put your books in the right places, then it's really easy for people to come and find information, and for Google too. So I think that's why I'm really pro blog is dead and putting things in the right places.
I like that. And what about in a recent blog post that you published, or the guide that you just published on LinkedIn that you shared with people, you mentioned in there focusing on one channel at a time, and you even have a picture of a map of different farms. So what does it look like for early stage testing, and at what point do you say, okay, this is successful and we can move on to the next channel?
So the whole point of this is called like an intensive growth approach, is because in the beginning, when you start, you don't have enough resources to do everything, right? Because usually what happens in startups is people say, we don't have enough resources. We need more designers. We need more writers. But the only reason why you need more of all of this stuff is because you're doing too many things in the beginning, right? Because most startups are like, let's do Facebook ads, Google ads, LinkedIn ads, let's do SEO, let's do everything. And then you can't do everything because you don't have enough designers to do everything. You don't have enough budget to do it. You don't have enough thinking space to do everything. And then it creates frustration. People are frustrated because they can't do things and they don't progress. So the aim of this is to solve all of that. So you do like 1 or 2 things really well, then doing 5 things like mediocrely. And there's lots of organizations which have done this super successfully. Like one of them is Canva. So Canva just focused on SEO, and they have like a 20-person SEO team. And then after SEO, did they then even invest a penny in paid ads? You know, but before it was just all about SEO, and they made that their key like advantage point about being really good at SEO. And like Squarespace, they started with paid ads because their CEO or founder is really into brand advertising. So by default, their DNA was all about doing really great paid ads. And now I think they're going to move on to doing like SEO type of things because they don't rank for like much. And then my other example I have is Slack. And Slack, they focused on one channel, which was their viral loop. Right? How can they get people to then come and create a Slack account and invite their colleagues? And then their colleagues would invite more people, and then the loop would go on and on and on. Then after them, they focused on paid ads. But in the beginning, it was all about virality. And I think they were against paid ads. They're like, don't spend a penny on paid ads. It's not good. It's all about the product growth, you know? But all of these things.
Dropbox also had a similar approach, right?
Yeah, with like the free space, like X megabytes of data. And if you invite a friend or something like this.
Yeah. So let's talk about building funnels, or getting, I guess building funnels for me is also it's generating leads, really. It's getting people into your CRM. And what's working right now? Because I felt like webinars had kind of died to me, or I thought people were losing interest in them, but now I feel like they're coming back up. A lot of people are doing webinars again, and especially right now when everybody's sitting at home, I imagine they're going to be watching a lot of webinars. So what's working best right now?
Interesting. I have a great example. Can I share my screen and show it? Would that work?
Yes.
Okay. So let me show you an example of like a really nice funnel I saw recently on this topic of like webinars and free stuff, PDFs, etc. This is a page on InVision, the design software, which is super popular. And what they did is they make a lot of free things. So they made this plugin for Sketch and Photoshop, right? To help designers, etc. And they made it completely for free. And like we talked about before, if you're in like, if you don't have much budget, but you're able to make these types of like free things, and it's a great way to get in touch with your audience, and especially those people who aren't even looking for your product yet if you don't have any search volume, right? And you don't have any money spent on paid ads, so tap into different communities and this kind of thing. But the reason why I like this funnel is because what happens is on this page it tells you why you should use this free plugin. And then on the next page, here it says like this is how you can use your plugin. If you look on the left here with like this animated GIF thing, then it plugs the product, right? Here it says discover InVision, design better products faster, no credit card required, create your free account. So this is how it leads you from a free thing into how can I sign up and use that product, right? And like click on like free account, and it takes me through the whole like registration and onboarding process for InVision. So they made this one, and then they also have another one, which I think is called Templar. Let me see if I can find it. They have this one as well, which is a free mobile app UI kit as well for like designers. So if you click on like Get Tether, then again it allows you to download it. But then it says here, unlock your free InVision account. Start designing like Google, Uber, Netflix, and Airbnb. And I think that copy there is super powerful, right? Because it uses references to big companies. Like if these guys can use it and it's for free, why don't I use it? You click on unlock account, and then what they do is they automatically put your email in here that you entered before. So it's less effort and less friction, so that you can then follow through and then like the whole process of making your account and then using their product. So I think in terms of like building funnels, I think this is a really great way to build a funnel and give value, because if you can give value to people before, then they'll be more likely to then sign up to your product, right? Instead of just saying, hey, come and sign up, use it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What if you don't have a free trial or a free version of your product?
If it's, can you give me an example?
Yeah, for example, let's say I have a client who does data cleaning for companies with over 10,000 data points, and they're not going to clean 5 data points for you to show you how well it works. Basically, they have they'll give you a sample of like 500 data points that they'll clean for you for a small price instead of the whole 10,000, 12,000 euro package that they normally offer. How do you capture leads I guess in that sense it would be more of some kind of webinar, right? Or downloadable guide.
I'm thinking, so they can't offer anything for free?
Not in their product, but obviously in a form of content, there's something that we can offer.
Yeah, I guess it'd have to be some kind of content. I can't think off the top of my head right now what they could offer. Yeah, a webinar on how to clean your data, maybe. I don't know. Like, I don't know who the target audience is and this kind of thing. But I think with like webinars, I think the reason why you said webinars aren't cool anymore, or maybe they are now, I think it's because of the name webinar. I think you can be really clever with what you call it. Like, imagine seeing like free SEO webinar versus free SEO training video. Which one would you click on? The second one, right?
Video.
So I think it's how you frame it, So you can call like free SEO video course or free SEO webinar. Because webinar, I think, is like a trigger for these guys want to sell me something at the end of this webinar. So I think it's how you frame it. If you say, check out this free online training video that I've made, I think that's a lot more interesting than check out this free webinar.
It's more powerful, absolutely. So cool. Where can people find you now, or where do you want to direct people to if they want to learn more from you?
I guess you can visit my LinkedIn page to learn more about my many things. If you're interested in and then also my blog as well, like inflectiongrowth.com, you can subscribe there and get email from me now and again when I've published some new content. But I guess connect with me on LinkedIn and we can have a chat on there.
Cool. Well, I'm going to leave it off, close it there. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Flying Cat Marketing Series. If you enjoyed this interview, please give it a like, share it with your friends and colleagues, and subscribe to this channel. Stay tuned because next week I'll be interviewing another leader in the SaaS and startup world talking about their challenges and achievements. See you there.